And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
October 23, 2025, a day that changed basketball forever. FBI agents stormed homes across 11 states, arresting Hall of Famers, respected coaches, and current star players. The accusations: multi-million-dollar fraud, fixed games, and secret connections to powerful criminal networks controlling parts of the NBA from the shadows. This wasn't just another scandal. It was an explosion that rocked the entire sports world. The shocking FBI operation didn't just shake up basketball, it tore open the image of trust fans had for decades. Overnight, the NBA went from celebration to chaos, as headlines screamed about betrayal, greed, and corruption hiding in plain sight. Picture it: FBI agents in their iconic windbreakers and tactical gear, pulling up to mansions in quiet suburbs and luxury neighborhoods. They moved in fast.
We're here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra.
Knocking on doors and taking people away who once stood as icons of the game. These weren't unknown figures. These were the faces of greatness. People who had inspired generations of fans. And this wasn't some minor financial case that fades after a few news cycles. No, this was something way bigger, darker, deeper, and built right into the foundation of professional basketball. It felt like the kind of plot you'd see in a blockbuster movie, except this time it was real. The FBI named the case Operation Nothing But Net, a major federal sting that led to over 30 arrests across 11 states. The unsealed indictments from the Eastern District of New York read like a Pandora's box of secret deals, manipulation, and criminal partnerships that no one saw coming. Investigators revealed two massive schemes. The first was an insider sports betting ring, using private NBA info to rig outcomes and win huge payouts. The second, a secret high-stakes poker network allegedly linked to organized groups known for their deep roots in illegal gambling and money laundering. These weren't small-time hustles. They were sophisticated, coordinated, and hidden under the bright lights of the NBA.
What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing.
He continued.
Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families.
The report even mentioned how these groups may have quietly influenced players and coaches to secure their advantage, creating a tangled web of control and deception that blurred the line between the game and the grind. The basketball world was stunned. Fans couldn't believe their heroes might have been caught up in something this extreme. The NBA now faced its biggest crisis ever, a moment that could redefine what honesty, loyalty, and competition truly mean in professional sports. He continued, prosecutors allege that this entire operation generated tens of millions in dirty money, cash that was secretly funneled into organized crime networks to fund even more illegal activities. Experts called it spot fixing. The manipulation of specific in-game moments like sudden substitutions, player exits, or strategic timeouts, all designed to swing bets without ever making the entire game look rigged. It was a quiet kind of chaos, hidden right in plain sight. What's wild is that none of this was obvious, even to experienced basketball analysts or diehard fans watching from home. The moves looked natural, the plays seemed real, but behind the scenes, it was all part of a chilling game of control and deceit. Now, let's get into the shocking part. The names, the faces that will forever be tied to what's being called the darkest chapter in NBA history. First up, Chauncey Billups, current head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. Once seen as a symbol of integrity, a five-time All-Star, Finals MVP in 2004, and Hall of Fame icon. Billups was the definition of a leader who represented everything right about the game. But according to these reports, that image has now been shattered. Arrested in Portland, Oregon, he's accused of taking part in mafia-backed poker operations, games allegedly designed to trap wealthy players and bleed them dry. Even more shocking are claims that he shared insider info about the Trailblazers' so-called tanking strategy during the 2023 season. That's a massive fall from grace for someone who once stood as one of basketball's most respected voices. Then there's Terry Rozier of the Miami Heat, a veteran guard with over a decade of NBA experience. Just last year, he signed a massive $97 million contract, securing his place among the sport's financial elite. But according to prosecutors, Rozier's arrest at a luxury hotel in Orlando, Florida, revealed another side to the story. He's accused of leaking private details about player injuries and early exits, information used to tilt bets across at least 7 games between 2023 and 2024. The teams reportedly impacted, the Hornets, Magic, Blazers, Lakers, and Raptors, turning whole matchups into quiet betting playgrounds for insiders. And it doesn't stop there. Damon Jones, a former player turned coach who once won a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, is also caught in the mess. After his playing days, he worked with the Lakers and Heat, but now he's accused of being knee-deep in both schemes. Reports claim he sold insider details about superstar players, names like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, while allegedly helping run those same poker setups that targeted high-rolling victims who had no idea they were being played. It's a story that sounds too wild to be real, but history says otherwise. This scandal doesn't stand alone. It's the latest chapter in a long pattern of gambling controversies that have haunted the NBA for decades. It's a reminder that beneath the bright lights and highlight reels, there's a side of the game most fans never see, where power, money, and deception all collide. Most notably, the 2024 lifetime ban, followed by the guilty plea of former Toronto center John T. Porter, stunned the league and ended a promising career overnight. Authorities say his role in manipulating prop bets was tied to mounting gambling debts that spun completely out of control, pushing him into choices that wrecked his future and rocked team trust. Investigators claim Porter faced threats that pressured him to leak insider tips, creating a web of coercion that connects his case directly to the prosecutions we're hearing about today. It's a cautionary tale. A young talent allegedly boxed in by debt and fear, then pulled deeper by people who only cared about cashing out on quiet moves and timing. Meanwhile, the NBA, with partnerships reportedly worth over $1 billion with betting giants such as DraftKings and FanDuel, is stuck in an awkward spot, trying to balance business deals with the duty to protect competition integrity. The league's image depends on transparency, and now every sponsor meeting, broadcast deal, and policy talk comes with tough questions and high stakes. In the latest fallout, Portland's head coach Chauncey Billups was placed on administrative leave, with assistant Tiago Splitter stepping in as interim head coach as the organization tries to steady the ship. The message is clear: keep operations moving, respect the process, and avoid speculation while the facts play out in real time. The scale here is massive, and that's not hype. This probe demanded coordination among federal agencies, state police, and local authorities across 11 states with no shortcuts and no guesswork. Officials didn't trip over this case by accident. They chased it with patience, paperwork, and precision that took serious time and stamina. We're talking thousands of surveillance hours, more than 3,000 recorded informant calls, and crypto tracing across blockchain records to follow the money trail step by step.
In December 2022 and March 2024, these defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams. The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games, or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses.
The point was to build something airtight for a federal grand jury. No loose ends, no weak links, just documented proof that could stand up in court. All of this lands at a moment when the NBA's $10 billion annual business faces new scrutiny amid the rise of legalized sports betting nationwide. A decade ago, this landscape didn't exist like this. Now it's everywhere, reshaping the game day experience, the media machine, and the expectations around transparency and rules. Fans, sponsors, networks, and team owners are asking the same blunt questions. How deep does this go, and how many matchups were quietly tilted by non-public info or spot-fixing plays? Can viewers fully trust what they're watching when money lines move faster than substitutions? And what guardrails are strong enough to keep the game clean going forward? Prosecutors say the 3 NBA-linked individuals under arrest face serious counts: wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, illegal gambling, and related offenses that carry heavy time if a jury convicts. With organized crime enhancements in play, the stakes jump even higher, raising the pressure on every motion, every plea, and every witness. To really grasp the scope, we have to look inside the machine, how these schemes allegedly worked, which tactics were used, and how psychology plus tech turned tiny moments into big money swings without looking obvious on TV. From coded messages to timed substitutions, the blueprint was subtle, patient, and designed to blend into normal basketball rhythm until the knock on the door came loud and early. And the entire history of American professional sports? Few scandals hit like this one. Let's start with what investigators are calling the insider sports betting ring, a secret operation that reportedly ran like clockwork from March 2023 to March 2024. For a whole year, this network quietly exploited the trust that fans, bettors, and the league placed in the integrity of NBA basketball. The reach of the scheme was wild. It allegedly touched games from 7 major teams: the Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic, Portland Trail Blazers, Los Angeles Lakers, Toronto Raptors, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Miami Heat. That's not just random, that's a cross-section of some of the league's most respected franchises, now caught in a shadow of suspicion that stunned the basketball world. The method? Simple but ruthless. Prosecutors say the entire setup depended on 3 key ingredients: insider access, big money bettors, and offshore gambling platforms that regulators could barely touch. All it took was someone inside the league willing to leak private info, injuries, rest plans, or strategic benchings, and the dominoes started falling fast. According to investigators, NBA insiders, including a few players and coaches, allegedly shared confidential details about player health, team rotations, or intentional lineup changes. Their partners on the outside then used that info to place heavy wagers on specific prop bets or team outcomes, moves that looked innocent to fans but were loaded with insider certainty. Now let's break down just how bold these plays got. Prosecutors pointed to one shocking case they called one of the most blatant examples of spot fixing in recent memory. It happened on March 23, 2023, during a game between the Charlotte Hornets and Chicago Bulls. That night, Terry Rozier reportedly left the game after only 9 minutes, citing a foot issue. Right before that exit, large bets were placed on his under stat line of 20.5 points. And when he didn't hit that mark, those bets paid out perfectly. The reported profit? Over $107,000 from just one game, one player, and one perfectly timed move. Incredible, right? And then, just a day later, came another eyebrow-raising twist. On March 24, 2023, reports claim that Chauncey Billups allegedly shared early details about the Trailblazers' tanking strategy with outside partners. The info supposedly revealed that star players, including Damian Lillard, would be benched under the cover of roster evaluation for draft purposes. Armed with that secret, the group allegedly dropped $80,000 on bets for Portland to lose that game against the Chicago Bulls. When the Blazers ended up losing by 28 points, those wagers reportedly cashed out big. Proof, investigators say, of just how coordinated and confident the operation had become. Each example paints a picture of precision, small, strategic plays that seemed like coincidence to fans, but were allegedly part of a carefully calculated system.
Among these defendants are 13 members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families, to include capos and soldiers from these families. Additionally, as you heard, current and former NBA coaches and players are also implicated, to include Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier.
It was quiet corruption at its most dangerous, hidden in plain sight, disguised as normal basketball strategy. But the insider betting ring was only half the story. Just one tentacle of a massive operation that reached deep into the world of underground gaming. What prosecutors describe next takes this scandal into even darker territory: the rigged, high-stakes poker network. This wasn't some backroom hustle. This was a slick, high-tech, long-running setup built to target the rich and powerful, using NBA fame as bait and greed as the hook. This poker scheme allegedly stretched from 2019 all the way to 2025. That's 6 full years of manipulation and control. Investigators say it used technology so advanced that even casino security pros would be impressed. Imagine card shufflers secretly fitted with micro cameras, tables enhanced with X-ray sensors, and special contact lenses designed to read marked cards invisible to the naked eye. Everything was wired, hidden, and precise, all to make sure the house never lost. The setup was bold. These underground games weren't happening in dark alleys or smoky basements. They were staged in luxury. We're talking about Hamptons mansions, high-end Las Vegas suites, Miami penthouses overlooking the ocean, and Manhattan hotel ballrooms where elite players thought they were rubbing shoulders with NBA royalty. Guests believed they were part of an exclusive, celebrity-filled experience, but in truth, they were walking into a perfectly orchestrated trap. According to reports, over 100 wealthy guests attended more than 50 private poker nights, with buy-ins starting at $100,000 and reaching up to a staggering $1 million per seat. Just getting invited felt like a privilege, a chance to play cards with real stars and feel part of a glamorous, high-stakes circle. But every single deal was stacked against them. The hook? Familiar faces. The organizers used what insiders called face cards, recognizable athletes and celebrities who gave the games a sense of trust and legitimacy. Among the names mentioned in court filings were Chauncey Billups, who allegedly attended several sessions between 5 and 7 times, serving as the main draw for investors eager to play across from an NBA Hall of Famer and current coach. Likewise, Damon Jones, former player and championship winner.
Proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States Attorney to bring this case, because we are going to take heat for it.
Allegedly took part in more than 10 poker nights. He reportedly used his NBA background to charm players, building trust while unknowingly leading them into a rigged setup they couldn't possibly beat. The idea was genius and cruel. Use fame to make people lower their guard. The numbers here are staggering. Reports estimate direct losses to victims exceeded $7 million, while another $20 million or more was laundered through fake businesses, crypto wallets, and offshore accounts designed to blur every financial trail. The houses, as the organizers were called, took a 10 to 20% cut from every pot, a built-in system that guaranteed endless profit for those running the tables. According to federal documents, the structure behind it all looked eerily familiar, a hierarchy resembling traditional organized crime. Allegedly, every role was defined, every dollar accounted for, and every connection reinforced through old-school loyalty and intimidation. The poker world had been infiltrated by something far more organized and dangerous than anyone realized. And here's where it gets even more chilling. Prosecutors claim this poker operation was reportedly backed by 4 major crime families: the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese organizations. Each group supposedly brought its own expertise, from laundering money to managing illegal gaming networks, creating a power alliance that merged old-world crime with modern tech. When participants fell behind on debts or hinted they might expose the operation, things allegedly turned tense fast. Sources describe how intimidation tactics and strong pressure were used to keep players silent, all part of maintaining control and keeping the illusion alive. By the time investigators pieced everything together, the poker operation had become a sprawling empire of deceit, glamour, and digital precision, one that turned celebrity, wealth, and technology into tools for manipulation. This wasn't just another gambling story. It was a full-blown underground industry that blurred the line between entertainment and exploitation. Court filings reportedly describe at least one terrifying moment. A victim allegedly forced to hand over nearly $500,000 in jewelry as partial payment for gambling debts. Other accounts mention multiple cases of extortion threats, where victims were pressured and intimidated into paying immediately or facing consequences that left them living in fear. The message was clear: pay up or face the fallout. Now, as the dust begins to settle, the question becomes, what happens next? The fallout from this scandal is already being called one of the most explosive in basketball history. It's not just about criminal charges. It's about what this means for the entire future of professional sports, gambling, and trust in the game itself. This moment has forced everyone, fans, players, owners, and executives, to face a tough reality. The ripple effects are hitting every corner of the sports world, exposing just how fragile the balance between entertainment, money, and integrity can be. The NBA is now facing a storm that will reshape how leagues deal with betting partnerships for years to come. But let's not forget, behind every headline, there are real people caught in the chaos. Lives have been flipped upside down, reputations destroyed, and careers shattered. Some of the individuals involved have spent decades building legacies only to see it all hang by a thread. As court cases begin, they face the grim reality of long legal battles, possible prison time, and permanent separation from the sport they once lived for. Both the NBA and the National Basketball Players Association, NBPA, have stepped forward with cautious statements, emphasizing their cooperation with federal authorities while reminding the public of a crucial truth: everyone is innocent until proven guilty. The league has promised full transparency and coordination with the FBI, the Department of Justice, and other agencies to uncover every layer of corruption that might exist. Still, it's a delicate balance. The NBA must appear tough on misconduct without prematurely condemning its own people before all the evidence comes out. They know the stakes. One wrong move could either spark backlash for being too harsh or criticism for being too soft. The Players Association, however, has taken a more outspoken stance. They've accused the media of creating a frenzy, painting those charged as guilty before any verdict is reached. Their statement reminded the public that being accused is not the same as being convicted, highlighting how the court of public opinion can often move faster and hit harder than the actual justice system. That message matters, especially when social media turns every rumor into a trending topic overnight. The union's push for fairness has gained support from fans who believe due process should still mean something, even in a high-profile scandal like this one. Financially, the numbers are staggering. The shockwaves are hitting every level, from franchise revenues to player contracts to sponsorship deals. The Toronto Raptors, Portland Trail Blazers, and Miami Heat are already seeing visible drops in attendance and fan engagement. Reports show Portland's season opener had about 10% of seats unsold, a worrying sign for a team that was already struggling to fill the arena before the scandal broke. Merchandise sales have taken a hit too. Jerseys for players caught in the storm are plummeting. Terry Rozier's Miami Heat jerseys reportedly dropped 15% in sales in October 2025 alone. That might sound small on paper, but when you're talking millions in league-wide revenue, those numbers cut deep. Every percentage point lost means real money. And that money funds everything from salaries to marketing budgets to youth programs. But the biggest financial concern isn't ticket sales. It's the NBA's close partnership with gambling companies. Over the past few years, the league's relationship with brands like DraftKings and FanDuel has turned into a billion-dollar empire. Those partnerships fueled in-game betting, data licensing, and flashy co-branded campaigns that changed how fans interact with basketball forever. Now, that very partnership is under the microscope. After the Jonte Porter betting ban in 2024, both companies' stocks dipped between 5 to 7%, signaling investor nervousness. When the latest wave of arrests hit in late October 2025, shares reportedly fell another 3%, a clear sign that Wall Street is watching closely and getting worried. The fear isn't just about lost profits, it's about public trust. Regulators are expected to tighten oversight, fans are questioning the fairness of games, and brands are wondering if sports betting has become too intertwined with the competition itself. The NBA may soon have to rethink how deep it wants to go into the gambling world or risk losing something money can't buy: credibility. In the end, this isn't just a scandal. It's a turning point. The league, its players, and its partners are facing a reckoning that will define what professional basketball stands for in the modern era. The stakes have never been higher, and the eyes of the world are watching every move. The entire regulatory landscape around sports betting is now shifting faster than ever. State governments and even federal lawmakers are suddenly paying serious attention to an industry that, until now, had mostly been allowed to police itself. For years, professional leagues worked under voluntary compliance. But after these scandals, that's no longer enough. A major turning point came in August 2024, when Ontario, Canada officially banned NBA player prop bets following the John T. Porter case. That single decision cost sportsbooks millions in lost revenue and set off alarm bells across North America. Now, other regions are reviewing similar bans, a ripple effect that could transform how betting operates worldwide. Even Commissioner Adam Silver, who was once one of the loudest supporters of legalized sports betting, is now calling for federal oversight. For years, he argued that banning betting would only push it underground into black markets where it couldn't be monitored. But after everything that's unfolded, he's been forced to completely rethink that stance. In October 2024, Silver made headlines with a statement that marked a clear shift in tone. He called for comprehensive federal regulation of the industry, pointing to the explosive growth of the $150 billion U.S. sports betting market and the cracks these scandals have exposed. He admitted that without tighter controls, even the most powerful leagues can't guarantee a fair game. The NBA's response came fast. League executives rolled out sweeping new policies aimed at cleaning up the mess and rebuilding trust. Every player, coach, and staff member must now take mandatory annual gambling education programs. The league also expanded its partnership with US Integrity, a data firm that tracks betting patterns in real time using advanced algorithms that can flag suspicious activity in seconds. Another big change: new rules on injury reports. Teams are now required to lock down private details about player health and rotation changes, limiting access to only verified internal staff. The idea is to make sure no bad actors can profit off insider info ever again. It's a total system reboot designed to restore the public's faith in fair play. To understand the weight of all this, it helps to look back. Sports history in America has been tangled with gambling scandals for over a century. One of the first and most infamous cases, the 1919 Black Sox scandal, when 8 Chicago White Sox players were banned for life for fixing the World Series. That incident was so massive, it changed baseball forever, creating the first commissioner's office to rebuild trust. The NBA's no stranger to this history either. Back in 2007, referee Tim Donaghy pled guilty to betting on games he officiated, sending shockwaves through the league. That scandal forced a total overhaul of how referees are monitored and evaluated. Baseball saw something similar with Pete Rose, one of its greatest stars, who's been banned for over 35 years for betting on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds. These examples remind us that corruption in sports isn't new, but the scale and technology behind today's scandals make them even harder to stop. And the most troubling part of the John T. Porter case is what it reveals about player vulnerability. Porter, earning about $1.5 million on a two-way contract, reportedly racked up between $1 and $2 million in gambling debts through sports betting and crypto speculation. For a young player trying to prove himself, that kind of pressure can be crushing. Prosecutors say he was targeted by people who saw his weakness, using fear and money traps to push him into compliance. Reports claim that Porter was eventually manipulated into controlling his own performance, deliberately underperforming in games or leaving early with fake injuries to ensure certain prop bets paid out. It's one of the most direct examples of game manipulation modern basketball has ever seen. One specific date stands out: January 26, 2024, during a game against the Los Angeles Clippers. Investigators allege Porter exited early, citing injury, allowing pre-placed bets on his underperformance to hit perfectly. It was a quiet moment that fans barely noticed, but one that now stands as a symbol of how deep the problem goes. This case shook the NBA to its core. It showed how even one vulnerable player could become the weak link in a billion-dollar industry built on trust and competition. The league now faces an urgent mission: protect its athletes, regulate its systems, and rebuild credibility before the damage becomes permanent. Porter reportedly played just 4 minutes before leaving the court with what he claimed was an eye injury, scoring 0 points, grabbing 3 rebounds, and handing out 1 assist. But the real story wasn't in the box score. Behind the scenes, over $200,000 in bets on his underperformance turned into more than $750,000 in profit for those who allegedly pulled the strings. It's a chilling reminder of how one quiet substitution can hide a massive storm of corruption. So, what does the future of professional basketball look like after this? Experts believe we're entering a whole new era, one where federal involvement in sports betting becomes stronger, stricter, and far more aggressive than ever before. Many are already pushing for the creation of a federal sports betting authority, a single agency that could oversee, track, and regulate gambling nationwide. That means real-time monitoring of betting patterns across all major platforms and closer coordination with professional leagues to spot suspicious activity before it ever turns into another full-blown scandal. For the NBA and other major leagues, the shift is already happening. We'll likely see tougher rules about who can bet, what they can bet on, and how private information is handled. There's even talk of complete bans on player and coach betting, not just on basketball, but on any sport. Imagine mandatory financial audits, strict disclosure rules for all team personnel, and lifetime bans for anyone who breaks those codes, even for small violations. The message is clear. The days of relaxed oversight are over. And then there's the money side, the delicate relationship between professional sports and gambling companies. It's safe to say that partnership is about to change in a big way. Leagues may soon start pulling back from betting promotions, scaling down those flashy in-game ads, and separating the spirit of the sport from the business of the bet. Fans might see fewer odds graphics, fewer betting integrations, and more focus on pure competition. The game, not the gamble. This could mark the end of an era, the closing of the NBA as we once knew it. The league that symbolized constant growth, excitement, and global expansion now faces a new reality, one defined by regulation, accountability, and the long climb back toward trust. The speed of this fall from grace has shocked everyone, leaving millions wondering if basketball can ever truly recover from this dark chapter in its history. But one thing's for sure, the world is watching, and how the NBA handles this moment will define its legacy for decades to come. Can the league rebuild its reputation? Can it prove that the love of the game is stronger than greed, pressure, and corruption? Only time will tell. What do you think? Is the NBA's golden era officially over, or can it rise again from this chaos? Drop your thoughts down below. I read every comment. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want to stay locked in as this story unfolds. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.